Okay.
A couple of these are for 3 Huckleberry, so maybe if you wanted to do them.
Okay. Good evening. This is the November 10th meeting of the BOZA and Planning Commission. Roll call, please.
Ann?
Here.
Katie? Absent. Lori Jo?
Here.
Mark? Absent. Tom? Here. Jody?
Here.
And myself, Ferguson, am here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's approve the October 13th minutes first.
Motion.
Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. And a motion for the October 19th minutes.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And this opens the Board of Zoning Adjustment. I need a,
No, we have to do the public hearing first.
oh, they have it down
It's up here.
before the whole thing. Okay. We're going to have the public hearing for any item on the agenda. You'll have 3 minutes,
This is for 3 Huckleberry Lane. The public hearing is only for the CUP.
only for the CUP. I'm sorry. So anyone who is here to speak to the conditional use permit application for 3 Huckleberry. I have Jennifer Veblin, is that correct? Come on up.
Lori, the letters should be read too after the speakers.
I'm sorry?
We read the letters after.
Of letters to read.
Right, we'll read those after.
That's what I get for being early. I have to be first. Okay, I'm Jennifer Veblin, and I'm here representing my husband, Carl, and me. We live at the corner of Huckleberry and Harvey. And just a little information, we've lived there for 15 years, moved in 2005. Now, we looked all around Eureka Springs. Though we love the bed and breakfast district, we didn't want to live in a bed and breakfast district. We wanted to live in a neighborhood, and that's where we've been living. With the neighbors are mainly seniors. Everybody gets along really well. We're always out walking, and I feel that this having a lodging, what do you call it, tourist lodging, changes the tone and intent of our neighborhood for many reasons. I strongly request that the permit not be granted. Now, if we had wanted to live in a bed and breakfast district, we would have done that, but we do not. We're at the top of East Mountain, and we enjoy our close-knit neighborhood in Harvey and Huckleberry. It's quiet. Robertson and, is it Franzak? Did I get that right? Okay. State that it's a 1-unit tourist lodging. It is, in fact, a complete house. They would be renting out the house. They've not stated how many visitors they would allow or disallow, and how many automobiles would be on the street. Now, we all in our neighborhood walk a lot, and we don't have any sidewalks or anything like that. So I worry about people driving up and down the street who are not committed to the neighborhood, who might be distracted, and it just adds another level of problem. Now, Robertson and Franzak stated that they are not intending on moving here right away. That's another thing. It's a situation we don't know what limits will be set on people. There'll be no one, say, they sign up, somebody calls and signs up for 2 people, and 10 people arrive, and there's nobody there to make sure. That's a concern. Additionally, let's see. I want to say to Robertson and Franzak that we welcome you to Eureka Springs. Now, we have a lot of tourist lodging here. It's all throughout the historical district. It's all around the Highway 62. And I don't think there's a need to open up our neighborhood, our residential neighborhood, to be just another. I used to work at the Chamber of Commerce, and bed and breakfast and lodging owners would call begging, please send us some people to stay here. They're all competing against each other. Down in Eureka Springs, they have the beautiful bed and breakfast houses. We're just a little suburban neighborhood. And we support tourism in this town, and it's a wonderful place for visitors and residents.
Excuse me, the time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Bill Poe?
Do you want me to put the timer on?
I've got
Good evening. I'm here to talk about the same residents and the same thing that's going
Could
on
we-
at Huckleberry.
Just for the record, could we have your full name and your address?
Oh, sure. It's William D. Pogue,
Thank you.
P-O-A-G-U-E. I live at 1 Wood Circle, which is on the corner of Harvey and Wood. Hooray for Harvey Wood.
Thank you.
Now, may I continue?
Yes.
Okay, now I spent a lot of time in the Air Force, 20 years. I also spent some time in Vietnam, and we were fighting for freedom. If somebody comes here and buys a house, regardless if they're going to live in it or if they want to rent it, that is their freedom to choose. Now, we have people that living on Harvey right now that have a house, and yet they've got 2 or 3 different people there at any given time. There are cars that we don't even know. There are bags of trash on the outside of their house, and it's right on Harvey. Nothing is said about that. But yet you take a couple of young ladies that, well, they're not young anymore. They want to come and live here. I've talked to them. They want to come and live here, but at this juncture, they can't do it. So that what they want to do is get this in place and get it fixed up to where they can use it as a rental area to help pay for the area itself. Now, no one's going to judge them on who they rent it to. The renters can be contained. If they come there and start doing something that's stupid or making a lot of racket, and if it's irritating people, I'll go over and ask them to shut up or cool it down or whatever's necessary, or I'll call the police. It's just like any other neighborhood. These people bought this place. It's their choice to live there or to rent it, and I'm sure there are a lot of rentals in Eureka Springs. I moved here because I love this place. I love the whole way it looks. I love living on 1 Wood Circle. It's great there. Like she said, it's quiet. It really is, except on the occasion when you get a lot of people there at this house down the road, but they're quiet too. We don't have any reason for the noise or anything else, but there's a lot of traffic coming out of that little house. Traffic is not the problem. Noise is not the problem. If someone wants to keep things the way it is forever, it will die. It will die on the vine. If you don't have enough foresight to see what's going on down the road, then this whole district right there is going to turn into another slum. So let's go back to the basics. They buy a place, they want to rent it out, that's their prerogative. That's their freedom. This is America. I fought for it, I killed for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak to 3 Huckleberry?
Good evening. My name is Gabriela Blotter, and I'm the realtor representing the buyers, Ms. Robertson and Ms.
I'm
Franzak.
having trouble hearing you, so if you could speak up.
I'm just going to hold the mic.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gabriela Blotter, and I am the realtor representing the buyers, Ms. Robertson and Ms. Franzak. I am a realtor in Bentonville, and I have to say that I'm very impressed with this area. I love Eureka Springs, and we moved here about a year ago. We moved in Bentonville in Northwest Arkansas, and we moved here from Fort Lauderdale. And I want to say that me and my family, we are immigrants. We moved here from Romania, and we lived in South Florida for the past 20 years. And I have to say that I really appreciate what Mr. Pogue said earlier, because the reason why we moved in this country is because we enjoy the freedom and we love this country for what it stands for. And Mr. Pogue is a true example of what this country is. You know, he fought for our liberty, and he fought for each of us to have the right and have the freedom to choose and to buy property and own property and use it with respect to everybody around us. So that being said, I would like to just to mention again that my clients are not able to attend the meeting tonight, and they both live in Arlington, Texas, and they regret not being able to be here tonight to express their feelings about this situation, but they want to assure you that they are very respectful people and very responsible, and they will be looking for a property management company that will ensure that the people that are renting the property, the people that, tourists that will rent the place will be monitored and will be selected and very carefully selected. So situations like excessive traffic or noise or drinking or whatever could happen in situations like that will not happen. So I respect what Mrs. Veblen said earlier. I appreciate that you came here and you expressed your feelings about what is going on. And I want to say that the fact that you care so much about your neighborhood, it's a very good thing, and I respect that a lot. And I do want to relate to my clients that buying in this neighborhood, it will be a good thing because it's
That's
just
your time,
everybody
please.
cares about the neighborhood.
Thank you for coming. Is there anyone else for 3 Huckleberry? All right, we've received several letters.
We have 8 emails. Glenna, do we need to read all 8 emails, or we can just say that all 8 emails oppose it?
These are not long letters, I think, or emails. I think we could read them.
Say what?
So they're not long.
Okay.
And I know some arrived today. Has everyone had a chance to read the emails that arrived today?
Yes.
Do we need to do that with the motion? Okay. We received in addition 7 emails and a letter from various people in the neighborhood. All of the letters oppose the granting of a conditional use permit. Thank you. Okay. And now we move into the Board of Zoning Adjustment. Oh, I'm sorry. We are closing the public hearing. And now we're going to open the meeting of the Board of Zoning Adjustment. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
A second.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Do we have any public comments on either the Lake Leatherwood City Park or the Drennan Drive application? Okay, if you come up, please.
That's fine. My name is Deborah Mills. I live at 2 Drennan Drive. I'm here for the Drennan Drive construction. The 10 cabins will be built beside my property. We are a private driveway. We are not a street. I own the driveway that is in front of my property that extends across the road. 10 cabins is just overkill for our little driveway. I can't say that he can't build because that wouldn't be right, but 10 cabins is just too many because we are a private driveway and it ends at the house that is below where he wants to build. There's already 7 septic attachments set up on the left side of the road. There is no sewer attachments on the right side of the road, so they'll have to dig up and put sewer system in on the right-hand side where they want to build 6 cabins, and the 4 cabins on the left side already has sewer. So we also have people that walk on our driveway. We have children that play on the driveway safely. You're talking about 10 cars at the most coming in and out of the driveway daily. So my question is, if he's going to have that much traffic on our driveway, is he going to keep it in repair? And is he going to have signs up to protect the children and the walkers? And is he going to be responsible for any ruckus or anyone that is of bad influences? And that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on.
Hi, I'm Pamela Ensminger. I'm on Drennan Drive, 8 Drennan Drive. And I'd like to request a letter that I wrote to the historical district that I sent and it was given to you to start this out with, please.
I'm sorry, you're wanting us to do what?
I think Glenna gave you a letter from
Right.
me, from the historical district, and I'd like it to be read.
Well, this is your time to speak.
I know, I understand, but it's part of what I'm talking about today. Anyway, this is about Drennan Drive, and as she said, it's a private drive. I have 7 grandchildren on that drive, on that road. I have a single father to the left of me with a child. This has been like, it's almost a nature preserve. I mean, we have so many deer and animal there. And I feel that I know that I can't stop this, but I think that Ozark Development Company and Marshall could be a good neighbor by creating some kind of parking situation that is not going to impact our driveway. And I'm saying, and in my letter, I mentioned that, possible a parking garage in the area that is already paved, and with cameras in your cabins. I mean, you could have a covered parking garage with cameras in the cabins to watch over their cars or their motorcycles. I have, these children are all under 15. What am I supposed to do in my neighborhood now? It's not going to be good to raise children or have children there. Not with bikers and cars just going back and forth, and all hours of the night. This is tragic, and I'm very upset about it. I have not even been given any word on it as far as what happened down there, and in the back of the neighborhood, in the backside of Drennan. And on top of that, I understand that Ozark Development Company also bought land in front of me. So I'm surrounded by this land. I have no idea what the plan is for 1 through 7, but I owned lot 6 and lot 8, and I have no idea what's going on in my neighborhood. I understand this is a very multi-million-dollar project, and I have no say in this, but at least be a good neighbor. Be a good neighbor and provide some decent kind of parking or some decent security and safety for our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can read this into public comment when we get to that planning commission. Excuse me, are you Ms. Ensminger? Yes. When we get to the agenda on this, we'll read your letter.
Okay, let's move to the tree removal appeal for Lake Leatherwood City Park. I need a motion to approve.
I move that we approve.
Second. Okay.
Now we can discuss.
Ready?
We'll let you speak first.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Scott Miskell. I'm the interim director for Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation, 532 Spring Street in Eureka Springs. Here tonight related to some glades that we have in the park. In fact, there's several of them, but there's just one that we are looking to restore at this time. In 2018, Theo Witzel, who's the senior botanist and ecologist for the Arkansas Natural Heritage Commission, did a study of our park, and he determined that these various glades that we have throughout the park are being destroyed due to the cedars that are out there. It may seem counterintuitive, so let me just briefly explain. A glade is a flat area. It can be within a forest, but it would be a flat area where the soil is very thin over the top of bedrock. And so what happens is there's not a whole lot of soil there, so most trees won't grow there, and so it develops a unique habitat where mostly grasses and some wildflowers grow. You don't get a lot of trees that will grow. Those that do, for instance, in the glade I'm talking about, there are a few oaks. We don't want to touch any of those, but they'll tend to grow very small because their roots are so shallow. Now the problem arises when we end up with cedars in these glades, because they will thrive in an area where they otherwise typically wouldn't. And that's because their roots are shallow, and they can grow in this type of an area. But what happens is it changes the very nature of the glade. Number one, the glades have to have sun. That's why the grasses and the flowers that grow there grow. The cedars they're very invasive in this type of environment, and they choke out all the grasses that would otherwise grow. Now, in nature, when we don't come along and put out forest fires or grass fires. That's how the cedars were typically controlled. They were just naturally controlled, because the fires that would come along and the grass fires would burn the lower branches, would
No, you go ahead.
No, my
would
apologies.
catch the lower branches of the cedars on fire and ultimately take out the entire trees. So periodically, we would end up with the cedars being burned out of the glades. And so what happens is that is not occurring, and therefore these cedars just proliferate and completely destroy the glades. Theo Witzel identified that there were 4 species of state conservation concern that are typically in our glades, and I can't find those in these in the glade that we're talking about. They don't seem to exist because of the denseness of the cedars. He himself had indicated that, in fact, his language, his words exactly, are in the study area. The study area is nearly all degraded and choked with cedar trees. So we are asking to remove all of the cedars from this area, and there's a lot of them that are in excess of the 4 inches. It would be approximately 150 cedars in this area, but it's required to be able to restore the glades to the condition that they are supposed to be in. Our only other alternative would be to do controlled burns, and that's just not something that we believe it makes sense. I would also add that we're looking to make this glade an area for some study and research through the master naturalists, which I am one, by the way, but between the master naturalists and possibly some college students, to study how the plants that are supposed to be in these glades would return and make it a little bit of a study area as well. So again, I know that we're asking for something that sounds drastic, but in reality, it's restoring these glades to the condition that they're supposed to be in. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Does anyone have questions?
I have a question on your application. I do appreciate the fact that the park brought the application to us. But in your permit request, there's language, this permit request is for removal of all cedars within the area, with 10 trees being removed immediately. I think that kind of violates the spirit of the ordinance about the tree removal. When you want to remove 150, I think the application should be for 150, not go in and say, well, we've got approval to cut 10 down, and then go ahead and ask for permission to cut another 140 down. But I understand your concept, and I have no objection to that, but I do think you have kind of, skirted the spirit of the ordinance, but that's just my thought. That's my only comment.
Scott, can I ask you about the material? If the cedars were cut, what are your plans for the fallen trees? And like, are they worthy of lumber? Are they worthy of reuse in the park somewhere?
Yes, they are. And should I address the first comment? Because it...
Please.
Okay. I do understand what you're saying, and I did that. First of all, we have not cut those other trees yet. I did it with the understanding that there's no guarantee that the appeal would be granted, and even if all we were able to remove was the 10, I didn't want to not be allowed to do that. So it wasn't a matter of wanting to circumvent. It was the understanding that it's possible that we could only cut the 10. So that was the reason that I worded it like that.
Okay.
And as I said, we have not cut those, even those 10 yet. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Basically, the utilization of the fallen trees. I mean, are you planning on using those to enhance the park with maybe benches or things like that?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we would plan on cutting, some of them are fairly large, and we are looking at building some pavilions and other such things. And so the larger diameter cedars we will keep and hope to have milled. The others, something I've been wanting to do for quite some time is buy a chipper that we could put on our tractor that would operate off the PTO. It can chip a lot larger things than a typical garden shredder or chipper. And so I would like to, for some of the other branches, chip those. In the past, in fact, right now, we have a very large burn pile in the park from trees and brush that's been removed, and I've always thought that that was an unfortunate way of dealing with that sort of thing, putting the carbon dioxide back in the air when in reality those things could be chipped and used. So it's something that I hope to acquire for the smaller branches. In fact, some of the smaller branches, and I'm talking the 4-inch or less that we can cut, those we can use as fence posts. There's plenty of areas around, for instance, the sinkholes that we have out there. We're looking at putting some fencing around, so we'll be able to use them for that type of thing as well. So my goal is that we get away from burning the residue of any sort of trees that we have to remove, and that we start using it for those sorts of purposes.
Thank you, thank you.
I make a motion that we approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? So approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, this is a great application.
It was.
Yes.
We
Very well
appreciate that
done.
very much.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with the Parks and Rec. I haven't signed it yet. Next, we have the application for tree removal at Drennan Drive for Ozark MHP. Lou,
Blair with Ozark Civil Engineering.
you're going to have to get closer to the mic.
I'm Todd Butler with Ozark Civil Engineering.
Thank you.
From Bentonville, Arkansas. And I'm the civil engineer. I'm here to represent Marshall on his project, and this is regarding the tree removal. We had our surveyors go out there. We're trying to eliminate, because of the cabins, we want to keep as many trees as we can to keep it in the woods. And so we had surveyed, and we designed the cabins around as many trees as we could keep. The surveyor had given that to us. The contractor then went out and kind of marked where everything was at. And the other day I came out to move a few of the stakes and stuff like that, and to see if we could save any more trees and stuff like that. So Marshall's intent is to try to save as many trees as possible. And if we do remove any, we'll be removing them and replacing them.
Any questions?
Yes, in your application, you asked for, I think, 34 trees.
Yes.
And I went out there Sunday afternoon and walked the site, and only 10 trees have been flagged. Our ordinance requires that all trees to be removed to be flagged with flagging tape of some sort.
I was
And
just
I
there.
called the building inspector and asked him what the deal was. He said, well, he talked to y'all about that and said something about the stakes removed, and y'all really didn't know where your lots were, so you only flagged 10 trees out of 34. So based on that, you've not followed the city ordinance on your application.
I did go back out there again, and that's what I was saying. I went back out there to check where the contractor had actually placed them and stuff like that.
When did you go back again?
Oh, and I'm just saying, I'll go back again. I was just saying I was there 2 weeks ago, and there were flags on all of those, and there was more than 10 on there. So if somebody has removed them, or if they have fallen down, we'll make sure that they're taken care of before the contractor gets back out there.
But only 10 trees have been flagged out of 34. You need to flag all 34,
Yes, sir.
but you've not done that.
No, I did, and it said they are gone. So when you went out there, you may see them, and I will have them redone again, sir. I will make sure they get remarked.
Well, we can't review the application if the trees are not being flagged.
Tom, I
Yeah.
think he's saying somebody took the flags off the trees.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I
They
was,
were all flagged, but then he's saying somebody
I called
removed them.
the building inspector, and he said he had been out there and the trees were not flagged. He called the engineer, and they said that they could not flag them because somebody removed the survey stakes. And I went out there on Sunday, I went out there again on Monday. And if the trees are not flagged, I don't know how we can approve the application.
Lori, you
Yes,
had-
Glenna?
You did get a set of photographs. There were 65 photographs.
Yes.
And the trees were flagged. I did not copy those in black and white for your packet, but they were in the email that was sent to you.
Yeah, we do have, photographs that at one time all the trees were flagged.
And the survey stakes were gone, so you can tell where the lots were.
Right.
It's
And
kind
the
of hard to
survey
pick
stakes are
a
also
tree out
in
of
the
a
photographs.
photograph.
The survey stakes are also in all the photographs.
Right,
But the
and then
survey
we have,
stakes were
did
not
everybody
there.
have this one in their packets as well?
They sent 65 pictures of stakes and tagged trees.
The problem I have with this is that we keep getting like these little bits and pieces of this project. And I think it's extremely hard to follow. It almost sounds in some ways like this is a planned unit development, which falls under another issue. I'm not sure it is. It would be nice to have a presentation of the whole thing, what your plan is, that we could invite the public to. I certainly understand the residents on Drennan Drive. I think it would help all of us, because as you bring these bits and pieces, and then we drive by and we see no progress being made. And you say you want 10 cabins, but I think
I see
there's 31 on the
26.
drawing.
what's that?
And I'm not sure that these people, the neighbors, are aware of the extensiveness of this project. I mean, I think it's a great thing for Eureka, but I think bringing this to the public, you're going to get a whole lot more support by being a really good neighbor, like the lady said. Because I just, like I said, these little bits and pieces, I'm very confused as to what's going on there.
My name is Marshall. I'm part of the Ozark developer. We've gone through this process for design purposes because it is a large project. And to be able to get through and get the designs and go through the bank process, obviously this year has slowed down some stuff because of COVID and all that. So we've been very, very transparent with this plan. So this, and being a good neighbor to these people, we have thought about all that. We've wanted to create a quiet cabin destination type setting. So as we've designed this, it has been in pieces, but it's because of the long process and such a large scale project. The project hasn't broken ground because there was some stuff that has held up just because of COVID and all the stuff that's taken place. But the support that we've gathered from every single event that we've come in here has been very positive, it seems. So what do you see that's not positive?
Now we're encroaching on residential neighborhoods.
Well, it is a public, the city has said that it's a public street, it's not private, and it is.
But there's residences there. That's what I'm trying to say.
What's the zoning?
I don't know.
Glenna,
Do you
what's
guys
the
aren't-
I don't, of their property, that's not on the application. I have your zoning.
Yeah, the zoning though of that is these are all part of, under the guidelines of the zoning of that property. Do you have access to the zoning?
If I may point out, this is a great drawing, but what would help the planning commission, because it is a unified project, all on adjacent lands, is how this relates to Pine Mountain Village. Is it south, is it southwest? What does it back up onto? We don't have the information.
It's one parcel.
To
I mean,
share your vision.
the property is one parcel. You
Right.
have all the plans of all the pieces that we've given you that you've approved so far.
Right, but we need something to see it
So do you,
together so we can see what's in it.
do you have any of the overall site plan of all the other stuff that we've had approved?
Well, it's not part of the packet.
Is it?
It wasn't submitted with this application.
Well, the reason this has been separated is because we were doing an SBA funding loan, and they had to separate this off. So this piece was separated from the original, the whole bank loan, because of SBA guidelines of it not being part of the businesses that we are in right now. So it was all about separating this piece off. So it's still part of the
I
whole
understand that.
project, yeah.
But for this commission, we need to see how this relates to the rest of the property. And then my question to Glenna is do you know what the zoning is on this?
Yeah, the zoning is, I mean, the whole property is zoned where these residents are, they're all zoned in commercial property.
I asked Glenna, please.
Where the cabins?
Yes, where the cabins are proposed, do you know what the zone is there?
Yes.
That's
It's-
C2.
It's zone C2.
It is C2, thank you.
What
The
about,
property comes on up from where the village is, goes across a ravine, and then it comes on up around. It's a 35-acre
and
parcel.
their
Thank you.
homes, what's that zoned?
What?
What zoning area are they in?
The first one, your first speaker, she is also Zone C2, the one, she has a bed and breakfast there. The others are, that whole Tucker addition is a very odd addition. The ones right along Drennan Drive before her property are zone residential, and then it backs up to the part on East Mountain and along the highway, Highway 62, that is C2. It's a very odd little zoning. So there's a little residential pocket in there, and it's surrounded by commercial, C2.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't explain
I
that
make a
very
motion, we
well, but-
defer the tree cut until they get the trees remarked.
Yeah.
And if you'll let us know, when that's gonna happen, we can all get out there as soon as it's done.
So the pictures of all the trees that were marked, that didn't work, showing you all the trees that had been marked?
But that doesn't give us the information. We need to know, we don't know what trees we're looking at. I mean, we are willing to know, acknowledge that they're probably all different trees, but if we go down, as we do to review, we don't know what trees they are because the markings have been removed.
So what all do you need for the next presentation?
We'll get with Glenna, and she can
Okay.
pass that along.
And just for instance, to being a good neighbor,
We're gonna,
we plan on
we
being a
voted to
great
defer
neighbor.
it, right?
Well, we haven't voted yet.
We
You made a
plan
I
on
made a motion
making
Do we have a second?
Second.
What's the motion again, please?
to defer it
Oh, okay.
To table it till we have a chance to go on
until they
site?
get it.
I'd also like to know when these cabins are actually going to go, because this doesn't really show me. This shows me more than, I'm confused by this more than this helps me.
Okay.
Is there, have you got it staked out there where we can see where the actual cabins are?
We've got a motion and a second, so we need to go ahead and vote on that motion.
All right.
This is the motion to defer until we have more information. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
No,
And I vote aye.
Passes.
And we have no unfinished business, so I need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I move we adjourn the BOZA.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, we're going to open the Planning Commission meeting. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So passed. And now we're looking for public comments on the cabins at Drennan Drive, a conditional use permit. We already had the public hearing on that, but should there be any additional comment for 3 Huckleberry? And the new construction review at 44 Prospect. So is anyone here to speak about that who hasn't spoken? Okay, we will begin with the commercial construction review for 10 cabins at Drennan Drive.
They left.
Okay. Excuse me, gentlemen, do you want to be here? We're going to look at your other application. He walked out.
They left.
Okay, I need a motion to do something with that.
I make a motion that we defer this till next meeting.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. We're going to move on to the conditional use permit application for 1 unit of tourist lodging at 3 Huckleberry for Catherine Roberson and Sherry Franzak. Need a motion to?
Motion to discuss.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, is anyone here representing the applicant?
That was that lady.
That was you, okay.
We've already heard.
If we have, would you like to come up to the mic, and that way we can address questions with you?
Hello?
Thank you. Does anyone have questions for the representative?
I don't have questions, but I have something I'd like to say.
Certainly.
You know, I live in R1, and tourist lodging hasn't been allowed in R1 since 2001, unless you've already got one. We have 8 people in the neighborhood who are opposed to this. We don't really have any of this over there. I appreciate the fact these people want to come and live here. It's unfortunate that they can't live here right now, but I have to take into effect our residents first, and I just have to say that I could not vote for this. I didn't vote yes for it.
I completely agree. I mean, we have to leave some places for people to live.
Yeah.
And
Speak into the mic.
I said I completely agree with that because we need to leave the residents places that are strictly residential. And as much as I'm pro-progress, and everybody knows I, want to see Eureka grow as much as anyone, we still have to take care of the people that live here. And I feel like this would be doing a disservice to the people in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and I just have to say, this is my neighborhood. I'm on that street on Harvey Road, and I too am concerned about the encroachment of commercial ventures into neighborhoods. So I would be very concerned, just as a resident, but as a commissioner, I'm concerned for the cities, for an area of safety or residential quiet versus a commercial property.
Well, I think the people that come in and stay at these places are lovely people, and I don't really think it's a problem, but I also think you should be able to buy a home in a neighborhood and it be a neighborhood full of your actual neighbors.
Right.
I don't believe that there's crime or anything that comes along with people who are, I really don't. But I do see, I know I like to talk to my neighbors. I know I like to know my neighbors. There is something to be said for having that old-fashioned feel that we love so much about Eureka and maintaining that in places where it seems feasible. And, Spring Street is already practically, you know what I mean? It's a different thing to approve a conditional use on a place on Spring or places where it's all pretty much, it's already a bed and breakfast or it's already tourist lodging. But to encroach into what I feel is like a very residential area seems like maybe they could purchase someplace else or, there are options. I had to wait a long time to get here, so I understand what it is to want to be here. But I do feel like we have to save something for the people that actually abide.
Tom, do you have any?
In looking at what we look at in doing a CUP, we're supposed to look at the existing land use pattern in the neighborhood, which is this is a single-family neighborhood, as you heard the neighbors testify to. Whether the proposed use is in harmony with the character of the neighborhood, whether other adequate sites in the city exist for the proposed use in district already permitting such use. You can do tourist lodging in commercial districts. And a lot of the town is its own commercial, and you can't put tourist lodging there. So there is adequate, I think, reasons based on the CUP guidelines to turn this down.
Any further discussion? I need a motion to approve.
I move we deny.
You have to make.
No, I need the motion to approve,
Oh.
and then you vote nay. No.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve the application.
Second, please.
Second?
Okay, all in favor? All against?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And then you could, Glenna will be in touch with you. There is an appeal process.
Okay, thank you.
And then the new commercial construction review for increasing the parking at 44 Prospect for Jeff Carter.
I make a motion for discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Hi, and you are?
Jeff and Heather Carter. We live at 11 North Main.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have any comments you'd like to
I
make
don't
at
have
this
any
time?
comments, just questions from you guys.
Okay. Excellent plaque, by the way.
Well, thank you. I got about 4 hours in that of time.
So are you going to be living here?
Yes.
So it's going to be a B&B?
I don't think it'll be a B&B as a traditional B&B, but we will have rentals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask, and this isn't one way or another as far as approving it's concerned, but we'd very much appreciate some greenery around these, so it doesn't look like one big wall of, or one big floor of concrete.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't met with a contractor for our landscaping yet, but the entire property is going to be re-landscaped and flowers, and all of that's important to us.
That's just something, you know, that we try to, you know, keep the city
Yes.
looking as good as possible.
But
Thank you.
We expect tens of thousands of people next year to stand in front of that house and take a picture. And so it's important that all of that look very nice. That's important to us.
They do that now.
They do that now. You're absolutely right. We're going to relight the property, and it's really going to stand out.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a beautiful place. Any other questions? John? Berg?
No, the only thing I have is Mr. Carter here is an exemplary citizen, and I believe that he's a true citizen of Eureka, and I really think that he's going to look forward. I look forward to his continued being here. So I just thank him for being here.
Thank you very much.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We have no unfinished business, so we'll go down to commission business. December 2020, normally we do not have, is that my understanding, that usually we do not have a December meeting?
Or we just usually have one meeting in December, Glenna?
We only have one meeting in a month.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will have the meeting the second Tuesday of the month.
Okay, sometimes you don't have a December meeting, but if the
Well,
tree-
hopefully we can get the folks from Pine
Yeah.
Mountain here with their plans and,
And I think everybody needs to make an effort to go out there and look
Yeah.
at them, because they did send extensive photographs of the trees marked and tagged. So I don't know what happened in between when they did that and when Tom went out to look.
so let's mark that all on our calendars. If it turns out there's no business, we will notify everybody.
Okay, so I'll let them know that there could be a December meeting if they're prepared, if the tree issue is taken care of. Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner comments? Tom?
No comment.
The only thing I've got is basically I wanted to, we had a lot of changes in our area. I want to welcome Holiday Island to the family of incorporated towns, and we look forward to maybe some questions they may have on setting up local government. So I want to thank, that's a new one for us. And also, again, I want to thank those businesses for being open during this critical time so that the city can function, and I appreciate them being there, as well as our first responders and their dedication to their families and all the stuff that goes with that. So that's all I've got.
Thank you. Ann?
Actually, I was going to add it to the agenda. I'd like to put on the agenda next time a discussion of the possibility of what's the word I want to use? not allowing tourist lodging in R2,
Lena, do you have that?
just for discussion.
Okay. We'll add that to the agenda. Jody?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay. My term here, since I was filling in a incomplete term, ends on December 31st, and I will be moving over to City Council on January 1st. So there will be a vacancy. My understanding is there is someone interested in applying,
I've heard that, yes.
so it may be a very smooth
Good.
transition. And do we have any announcements from anybody?
Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and we will be doing a 21-gun salute at Planter Hill. The American Legion Post 9 will be conducting that. We will only be doing a 21-gun salute and a bugle and no speeches, but it has been approved by the mayor. So I hope everybody can be out there at 11 a.m. Tomorrow at Planter Hill.
Thank you. Any further announcements? Okay, if I could have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.